We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 178 of Born to be Wild, a wild and wild adjacent exclusive Hearthstone podcast, where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the wild and wild adjacent formats of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I'm your host, as always, ElectricSheepCity. It is great to be back on this beautiful Friday evening here in the Denver Boulder area of Colorado. And I am joined tonight by my favorite person, Hydralisk. Hydra, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm someone's favorite person. Hooray!
Yeah, buddy. You know it.
I'm doing great, coming at you from the greater Vancouver area, and Friday night's always an awesome night. Things have been a little crazy lately. We had some Mother Nature issues last week. Darn those storms. And weren't able to do a show, so apologies for that, but we are here tonight, and we're very excited to do so. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Let me briefly explain how this show works. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are always distributed to all podcast apps. So however you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes. You.
Yeah, so before we get into the main topic of the show, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Shokunin and the other patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, not for very much longer. It's going away. It makes me sad. Or your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel, which is, of course, free if you use your Amazon Prime. Plug, plug, plug. And, of course, there are also emotes you can unlock completely free in this channel just by following. We've also got some Born to be Wild merchandise. So there, if you're watching, we've got the lovely Schmoopy Daddy and Schmoopy Mommy on screen wearing some of that stuff. You can find that a link to the shop on our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can also join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Just $1 a month. And of course, if you'd like to interact with us personally, you can always join the Discord. So Discord is, of course, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world, and we mean that. We love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of these stuff and all of these things and more can be found on our website, which is, again, borntobewildhs.com. Hydra, I believe that we've got some funny usernames to dedicate this particular show to.
We do. So we're going to dedicate this episode to Deep Black, Lord of Potato. Gothic Yoshi. I want to see what a Gothic Yoshi looks like. I know Schmoopy Daddy tried to see if there was a GIF about a Gothic Yoshi. That didn't work out so well. But our big one that we are going to dedicate this episode to is, drumroll please, dog poop.
This show is dedicated to you, dog poop. So, on that note, one thing that is not dog poop is Hydralisk's week. Hydra, how has your week been, my friend?
My week has actually been pretty good. I actually can't recall how open I've been about what's sort of been going on recently, but things have been a little crazy for me where someone at my work in a management position decided they were going to, pursue another opportunity somewhere else. Now, this was in the department that I used to be in, and I thought, hey, I can do that thing, right? And I had a lot of people approach me. I actually had my manager and director approach me, all telling me like, you got to go do the thing. You got to apply for the thing. And there's been a few. I don't know how many people applied for the position, but I did a little resume buffing and did a little, soul searching, and decided I was gonna, do the thing. Click the button. We have this like online applying system, and yeah, so I went for it, and I ended up scoring the interview. I was a little stressed out. It's been a while since I've gone on an interview, but I always worry, like, are they going to ask you something that you just blank on? Like you're all hung up. And you know what? My wife told me that I'm usually pretty good on the spot with things, and it turned out, yeah, like I actually didn't even really worry about it as much as maybe I should have, but like off the cuff, everything worked out pretty great. And I walked out of that interview pretty good. So this was last Friday. And then I was told, we'll let you know next week, where we stand. And I said, all right, when next week? Like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Happy
And
days.
then I was told at least by at least by the end of the week. So nothing like all week long. And today I'm going to work. I'm like, well, it's got to be today, right? And so I wait all the way till about 20 after 2, where one of the directors came and he grabbed me and he's like, all right, ready for a chat? I'm like, sure. Let's go. And you walk into the room, HR's there, blah, 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 blah. And actually, no, sorry, HR wasn't there. Sheep and I talked about this. This was a whole kerfuffle, but they offered me the job. It's a management position where I work. I verbally accepted, and I am now Bossy Hydra.
Bossy Hydra, indeed. Congratulations. Hooray.
Thank you. Yeah, so the industry that I'm in, it's geotechnical instrumentation. It's a mouthful, but in general, I've been in the business for 18 years now. And I guess my work history, my resume, my health and safety history, and everything like that, it all added up to a point where I guess they liked it. So, and they liked me. So I got the job. I now have a whole bunch of people under me and lead hands over those people, but also still under me. It's gonna be a transition from what I was doing before. What I was doing before in quality and everything like that, it's still gonna apply to my job as Bossy Hydra. But I'm super stoked. I do have to go to work an hour earlier than normal, so I'm sort of sad about that. Who wants to wake up an hour earlier? Boo.
I think it'll be worth it, but also totally feel you there. I can't imagine being at work by 7 a.m. on the regular.
Yeah, actually, the job I had before this, Sheep, I actually started at 5 a.m. and I did that for 3.5 years.
How?
But at 5, I used to work 5 till 5. It was 12 hours. It was brutal. But yeah, anyway, so I'll be starting at 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. now. And yeah, it's a big deal. So I'm pretty stoked. I never imagined 7 years ago when I started at this place that I'd, like the guy that interviewed me, I have his job now. So
look at you. You're the boss now.
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really stoked. I had clammy hands all day, man. Like as soon as I found out, like I got the thing and people just start coming up and shaking my hands, I'm like, oh no. They're gonna feel my clammy, anxious hands. But yeah, it was good.
Congratulations again, man. Well earned, well deserved, and I'm glad that you're getting the recognition that, I mean, I always felt like you had earned and deserved it, and I'm glad that they see that as well. So congratulations.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it. I'll do a quick little Stephen King update. Won't get too deep into it, but I'd started the novella collection Different Seasons a while ago, actually when Blister Guy was on, but I got interrupted by Holly. But so I got back to it and I finished off the body. which is the Stand By Me. If you've seen the movie Stand By Me, that's the book, The Body. It was so good that when I was done, I wanted to read it again. That is how good reading The Body is. So if you have not read The Body, read it now. It's not that long. It's a novella, right? You could probably get it done in a few hours, kind of thing. And then the next one after that was a novella called The Breathing Method in the same collection. A lot shorter, but also like really, really good. Not as good as The Body, but I mean, if you're reading different seasons, it's the last one in the book. I recommend reading that. And then I moved on to the next collection called Skeleton Crew. Now, if you've ever watched the movie The Mist or the show, have you seen that movie, Sheep?
I have. It was interesting.
What's interesting about it is it's so that movie came out in like 2008, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That short story was written like in the late 70s. So it took a long time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, for it to come out. And the ending in the book is not the same as in the movie. Apparently, so you probably remember the ending that I'm talking about in the movie. Apparently, Stephen King didn't see it coming because they changed it up. And he thought it was, he said, like, I know, like, he notoriously doesn't like the Shining adaptation. Mm-hmm. They changed the ending and stuff like that, and other stuff. But he loved that the change that they did for The Mist. Like, he really enjoyed that and thought it was super creative and awesome. But that's not what he wrote. So I'm super excited to see what is actually in the book when I get to the end. But that's what I'm reading now. I'm reading The Mist, which is part of the Skeleton Crew collection. Now, enough about that. This is a Hearthstone podcast. It is a wild and twist podcast because new season, right? I haven't decided what I'm going to play in Wild yet, but Sheep over here has been playing some stuff. I'll let him discuss it more, but one of his suggestions was a Druid deck, and I took that, and apparently it works. So I'm going to continue to play Sheep's deck. I'll let him talk a little bit more about it, but it's winning. I got a 67% win rate with it. I will probably use it to climb in Twist this month until anything changes. But yeah, pretty good. I will be playing Wild. I haven't decided what I want to do yet in Wild this season, but it's only the 3rd, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a great week for me. Why don't you tell us about your week, Sheep?
Yeah, so my week, not quite as great as yours, was still had a lot of fun. So baby has not been sick for a couple weeks. He's doing really well. However, so we didn't have a show last week, partially because things got a little chilly here, and I live in a new construction, and what happened, apparently, I found this out not during the showtime, but like later on at the weekend, last weekend, the new construction folks cut the like internet to like the whole neighborhood. And then because it was snowing, like the internet folks couldn't come out to like fix all of the things until like Monday. No! Like by the time I got home from work, because I typically work from home on Monday, but couldn't really do that thing. So by the time I got home from work, they had like just fixed it on Monday. So it finally got fixed, but yeah, that was a whole debacle. I did, however, get to play some Hearthstone. So in Twist, I was playing some aggro druid, some beast aggro druid. Went from, bronze 10 to like diamond 3, and then 5, and then 3, and then 5. And then I switched back to my hand buff paladin and finished the climb, got to legend, hit it at rank 9. So, you know, low for Twist. I hit it on day 2. I didn't hit it on day 1 because, I was working all day.
But day 2, 9 is pretty solid. You may not have only been, among 8 other players. Your win rate may have had something to do with that. I'm pretty sure.
It did, especially because I was only at 10 stars again this month. So I did not have the extra stars from D5 to Legend.
Wow.
See what happens, and this is what happens to me in Wild as well, is I'll hit Legend and then I'll either, keep playing the deck that got me there and that I was having a lot of fun with, or I'll start experimenting and playing, some other stuff to see how well it works. Sometimes it works out pretty well, and sometimes it's fun, but it does not do so well. And that's what kind of happened last season in Twist in particular. So I've also been playing an amazing other game. Aramorn and I have been having some conversations about Spider-Man 2.
I was going to say, you said an amazing other game. So
you picked up what I'm throwing down. So, last weekend I didn't have internet. I already had Spider-Man. So
nice.
Yeah, I played through. I may have gotten the platinum trophy. I think it was like either last weekend or like early this week. It may have been like Monday of this week. I don't know. Time is a flat circle on your wrist. That's all it is.
Hey, why not?
It's just such a good game, and no internet. I couldn't really, I played a bit of Hearthstone on my phone, but yeah, I already had the game on the stuff and things, and it's so much fun. Such a good game. I think I talked about last weekend how on the 20th that how I had just gotten it. I couldn't wait to that I had just started it because it had finished downloading then. So it took me a little bit more than a week to platinum it, but yeah, super fast platinum, super incredible game. Had a blast doing that thing, but I also had a blast keeping up with the Hearthstone news this past really couple weeks.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
Oh, the news is so good. A lot of us were a little confused at some things that have been going on Twitter. And there was a really cool thread that started off this past week that Celestalon started. And I actually got really invested in this thread. So I feel like we should explore this. Let's go down Celestalon's Twitter feed and his thread where he started off rating his favorite catch-ups of all time. So he started off with a tweet saying, "I love ketchup. I really love ketchup. If you put enough ketchup on anything, it'll taste like ketchup. And that's a great thing." Not many things can claim that, but it also means that which ketchup you use is of paramount importance. So, as a ketchup aficionado, I have great experience with a wide range of ketchups and would like to share that knowledge with the world so that all can benefit. So without further ado, Celestalon presents Celestalon's best ketchups. He said, "I will post one per day so you have time to savor each."
So starting out with number 10, this was on October 25th. Happy birthday, Guy Grumpy, and my sister. It makes it really easy to remember Guy Grumpy's birthday. So starting with Heinz Simply. Heinz is a staple among ketchups, and their Simply version replaces the normal high fructose corn syrup with cane sugar, resulting in a sweeter, albeit oilier sauce. An excellent choice for any general purpose ketchup need.
Fair enough. Let's move on to number 9. Number 9, and I agree with this one. Annie's Organic. A decent all-natural ketchup. A little sweet, a little tart. I'm not personally a fan of how much thinner it is than most ketchups, but otherwise, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Do you ever buy Annie's, by the way? Have you ever had Annie's?
I don't know that I have had Annie's, but the next one on the list, you were agreeing hard with Annie's Organic, and I'm agreeing hard with number 8, Whataburger Spicy Ketchup. So the only thing I would say is that this is much higher on my list. So Whataburger is a fast food restaurant local to Texas, my old stomping grounds. And their spicy ketchup is incredible. So Celestalon editorializes, a solid spicy ketchup at 8th place, though it may have a little more spice than I'd like for a general purpose ketchup, but does great in a situation befitting it.
You know what? I might like this because I often actually mix barbecue sauce into ketchup and make my own sort of like spicy barbecue ketchup sort of mix. And this seems like an all-in-one. Genius. All right. Number 7 from Celestalon. Only at number 7, but don't let that fool you. This is the gold standard. What everything else is measured against. As far as widely available mass product ketchups go, you cannot go better. So this is just your standard Heinz 57 tomato ketchup. And he said, yes, I'm looking at you, Hunt's lovers. You cannot find any better. I mean, that's all we buy, to be honest.
It's a classic for a reason. It is a classic for a reason. And moving on to number 6, Trader Joe's Organic. This one has a strong sweetness to it that is just perfect to go on a burger with some grilled onions. It's another classic. Trader Joe's, an American staple. Just solid choice there.
We live very close to the border, and people from here drive just to go to Trader Joe's. So apparently it's good.
Can confirm.
All right. Number 5, Whataburger Fancy. So I'm guessing Sheep has had this as well, as he is a local of the Whataburger franchise. But as we get to the top 5, the real winners start to appear. Whataburger makes its second appearance with their fancy traditional ketchup. A little sweeter than most, a little thicker, and a hint of garlic that makes this one really stand out.
Yeah, and the hits keep on coming with number 4, Sir Kensington's Classic. We're getting serious now, into ketchups you've likely never heard of, but really should. Sir Kensington's, a ketchup for when you really want to taste your ketchup. The sauce is extremely tomato heavy, almost like a rich, extra thick tomato jam. And this one does look a little snooty, as Aramorn says in the chat. It's got a guy with a monocle and a twirly mustache and a top hat. Just you can tell that Sir Kensington plays himself some Monopoly.
Well, you think that's snooty? Wait till you hear the price point on this one. So Stonewall Country Kitchen coming in at number 3. When I saw this and I saw like that thickness in this, oh my gosh. Let me read it first. Certainly a premium feeling ketchup. No squeeze bottle can hold this. It's chunky. Pepper seeds for a solid kick, finely chopped onions, and all around quality ingredients for when you want to break out the good stuff. As soon as I saw this, I wanted to buy it, and I looked on Amazon. It was selling for like $25 for a jar.
That's a little outrageous.
I was like, okay, I'm not buying it.
Well, when you really want to break out the good stuff, you definitely go with Stonewall Kitchen Country. And if only we could break out this good stuff as well. Because number 2 is Jack in the Box Grill Fancy. Number 2 is a lost treasure. Back in 2004, Jack in the Box converted a few of their locations into JBX Grill. These were test stores for a much higher end style of fast food. Big comfy chairs, a fireplace. They bring your food out to you in much higher quality, all that good stuff. The tweet got cut off and I didn't expand it there, but it was fancy Jack in the Box ketchup. Celestalon knows that there will be some angst about putting a ketchup that's no longer available on the list, but it was just that good. If anyone worked in Jack in the Box test kitchens 20 years ago and can look up a recipe, share it with Chad, share it with us. We need this ketchup recipe.
All right. So you're probably all wondering what number 1 is going to be. And so were the rest of us that were following this thread for many days. Does Celestalon really just love ketchup? Or was there a point to this entire thing? Well, number one is ketchup packs. Ever thought about coming back to Hearthstone, but then remembered all the cards that you have missed and would have to collect? This new type of pack completely flips that overwhelming feeling upside down. Up to 50 cards per pack. Based on your standard collection size, we are giving out a bunch of these for free and adding a bunch to the new expansion bundles at no extra cost. For example, excited by the new Shadow in the Badlands expansion, but haven't played in a few years? Grab the Mega Bundle and all the free catch-up packs, and you will end up with over half the cards from the last 2 years. There are bundles for gold or huge discounts to raise that even further. And they're all real cards. You can disenchant them, craft them, whatever you want. All in all, this drastically reduces what's needed to come back to the game or join for the first time and get meta competitive. The ketchup pack.
Well earned first place in Celestalon's ketchup ratings there. So our Celestalon kind of gives us some more info into how these ketchup packs work. So here are some of the juicy details. Same rarity distribution as normal packs.
Hold on. Is that tomato juice?
You know, he doesn't specify here. It may be a little garlicky, like the Whataburger Fancy ketchup. We'll have to crack open a few packs to find out. So these have the same rarity distribution as normal packs. They're all non-golden cards. So you know, whales need not feel like they need to grab these. These are to help people catch up. The card count in each pack varies from 5 cards to 50 cards. 50 cards in a single pack. So the goal here is to help people catch up quick and easy while still being the same size as normal packs for high collection players. The count is calculated per expansion, 1 to 10 cards per expansion, 5 to 50 cards total. So are you below 25% collection? You get the maximum amount of cards per expansion. So, you know, 10 per expansion, 50 cards. If you have 75% of the collection or above, you only get 1 card per expansion, so 5 cards total. Between those, it just scales linearly. It's based on the cards you've ever owned. So if I were to go in and disenchant all of my standard cards, I would still only be getting 5 cards per pack. So that's the same as duplicate protection. Since the pack size can vary, the first legendary and guaranteed rares are calculated per card. The first legendary is per expansion. So yes, that means 5 accelerated legendaries. More details, of course, can be found on the Play Hearthstone website.
So it talks about the collection percentage here. I'm guessing, so in the client, it shows us our overall collection, right? Like it gives us the overall percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing this means standard collection with these catch-up packs, or no?
Yeah, so the way that Chad kind of breaks it down here is that the card count varying from 5 to 50, it looks at each individual expansion, and since these are 5 expansions that it's looking at, each like one slot, it looks at each expansion. So if, let's say, I was playing in Voyage to the Sunken City, I got 100% of Voyage to the Sunken City, I will get 1 card from that. But then let's say I just stopped playing. So the very next expansion, I would get 10 cards for that kind of pack slot. So
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. So instead of 50, I would get 45, 46, 46 because maths. I could also have done that incorrectly. No, it would be 41. It'd be 41.
41.
Because 10 per the 4 and then 1 for the final. 41 is if I had 100% of one of them and 0% of all the others. So Anywhere from
man.
5 to 50 cards total, depending on how much you get for the packs, or how much your collection was for each of those expansions that are made up of in the packs.
You know, I feel like they just heard that Hydralisk wasn't playing on EU and Asia anymore.
Well, so my best friend who got me into Hearthstone, right? Like, he hasn't played in ages, and trying to find some way to get him back into it is really hard because he doesn't have any of the standard cards.
Mhm.
Now it's like, okay, one of the new cards is called Pocket Sand. Pocket Sand is a King of the Hill reference. It's something that he says every time he's leaving work. He's like, okay, Pocket Sand, I'm getting out of here. You know, just throwing that Pocket Sand into his boss's face so he can get out the door. And so I broke the news to him that he's going to have to play Hearthstone because there's a Pocket Sand card.
You have to play Hearthstone.
I mean, it wasn't easy news to deliver, but I broke the news to him. And now, even though this is the 6th, you know, the most cards that are going to be in standard at a single time, he can catch up a lot easier because if he gets, you know, just a few of these catch-up packs, he can actually have a competitive like collection and actually be able to play good decks and not just kind of like cobble things together to try and make something work. So it's a great way to get people back into the game or into the game who don't have that built up collection, which is great.
What's really funny, actually, that you mentioned that is I have a coworker who the other day was talking to me about this exact problem of he was saying I stopped playing about 2 years ago, right? And he sees all these titans and like all this stuff, and he's like, there's no way. Like, there's so many legendaries nowadays. There's so many, like, I'm so far behind. It's impossible. It's impossible. Well, guess what I'm going to talk to him about on Monday? Catch-up packs. Because it's the way to do it. It's so cool. And I cannot help but picture the stinking little Heinz ketchup packs every time I say, or you say ketchup packs.
I know, right? Well, and it's wild too. I can't remember exactly how they like broke it down whenever they were showing it on the screen at BlizzCon. And you know, this happened like right before we started recording tonight. So it wasn't like super easy to kind of refer back to and all that good stuff. But it was something like from the 20 or 40 or however many packs it showed, you know, they did the like mass pack opening, and it was something like 500, 700 cards that they got from it. Just an absurd number of cards to just be able to be caught up like that. It's just, it's a fantastic way of implementing it. I'm a big fan.
My son too, Mini Hydra, he quite often, like, he comes up to me, he's like, Dad, am I an OG? Like, what do you mean? He's like, am I OG Hearthstone player? I'm like, sorta. Yeah, you did play back in the day, but you don't play still, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, but doesn't that still make me an OG? I'm like, almost. If you were still playing, then maybe I'd call you an OG. It's like I'm tempting him a little bit, right? This might be something that gets him going. We'll see. I would never push him. Like, let him play what he wants to play. But this would be a good way. Like, if I showed him this, like, hey, look, you can get all the cards. Like, my son quit playing when patches still had charge, right? So, like, it's been a while.
Yahar.
But then this would be a great way if he was ever interested in hopping back in.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool.
Most definitely. And of course, how can you get these catch-up packs? Catch-up packs have been added to both of the Showdown in the Badlands pre-purchase bundles. So 10 in the regular pre-purchase bundle, 20 in the mega bundle. Everyone attending BlizzCon in person or who purchased either of the BlizzCon collection levels gets 3 catch-up packs automatically added. There will also be a free login reward of 2 catch-up packs and an event that grants 5 catch-up packs with patch 28.0. So more details are forthcoming about that. Also in patch 28.0, catch-up packs will be added to the new and returning player experience. And finally, that's a mouthful. I have to take a breath between those. There will be bundle offers in the shop that include ketchup packs as well. So lots of different ways that you can get that thing. I mean, 20 packs with the mega bundle, if you haven't been playing, is a ton. Again, since it scales with how much or little your collection levels in the past, like, I have a full standard collection. Those 20 packs, I mean, I'm going to open them because they are specific to those previous 5 expansions. It's not like they scale, with anything. So I'm going to open them and I'm going to get my, 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to get my 100, free cards, not free, but I'm going to get my 100 cards, extra cards. Yeah. And not feel bad about it. But really, these ketchup packs are not for me. They're not for Hydra. They're for mini Hydra. They're for Hydra's coworker. They're for me trying to build up a collection for my son for if he ever decides to start playing. Stuff like that.
Did you start an account called Little Lamb?
Zappy Lambtown, but yeah, I think his was ZLT was the
oh yeah, the official. That's super cool. Yeah, build that collection, and then if he doesn't like Hearthstone, then you'll just be stuck playing multiple accounts. It's all good. There could be worse things.
I could be trying to juggle 3 different regions. I don't know how you did that for that long, man. I don't know how you did it for that long. Super incredible.
I think starting to do schooling stuff is what really killed it. But it was probably a good thing. What you can do though, and I don't think it's cheating, but you can, if you're playing on Zappy Lambtown's account and you want to clear some quests, you can just play Daddy Sheep, and you can play 3. So it says play 3 games with Hunter or whatever on Zappy Lambtown's. Like you could play against yourself. And do that, or see if Mrs. Sheep wants to learn how to play Hearthstone. She can play in Zappy Lambtowns.
Well, and 2, I can borrow the decks from my account with his account so that I can do the things like play X number of Titans or forge certain number of cards, even though he doesn't have Titan cards or forgeable cards. Yeah,
I forgot that they have that feature now. It's been a while that they have had it, but yeah, that'll work really well, and you can complete the quest super easily.
Yes, good.
Oh, you know what? And I remember showing my son. I'm like, oh, Sheep should do this. I remember showing my son. I made him a face hunter deck, right? Like why wouldn't you? Like, it's like the easiest thing for a kid. Like, I first showed my son, he was probably 5 or something like that. It's just like, right in the face. Like, that's just do that.
Right in the face. Well, there's a new face of the forthcoming expansion showdown at the Badlands that I can't wait to talk about. And that is Reno Lone Ranger. So we are getting our first ever neutral hero card. That's right. So Reno Lone Ranger is an 8-mana neutral hero card with 5, armor, like hero cards tend to have. This battle cry is just incredible. So battle cry, if your deck has no duplicates, empty the enemy board. Poof, it's just gone. No death rattle effects. Not like if you're, say I'm playing against Reno, I'm playing as Pirate Warrior. I've got, the Juggernaut on board. The Juggernaut goes away. The board is just emptied completely.
It's just gone.
Yeah.
Not dead, just gone.
Poof. And limit it to 1 minion for a turn. It's high noon.
So like you can't refill as the enemy the next turn. You can only play a card, right?
Right. Exactly. Only 1 minion the very next turn because it's high noon.
Wow.
So that's a really powerful battle cry. Just complete board wipe. Keep the opponent from like refilling the board up the next turn. But what might Reno's hero power be? It changes. So, the Reno, the Lone Ranger, is a neutral hero card. It looks like all of these hero powers are references to the different classes in Hearthstone. So the first one listed here is Arcane Bullet. All of these are 2 mana. Deal 2 damage, refresh 2 mana crystals, swaps each turn. So
That's cool.
That feels like pretty much like what's it called? That arcane spell, Mana Biscuit, Conjured Mana Biscuit, right?
Yeah.
So then there's Spell
makes
Bullet.
sense.
Oh no, these aren't. They feel like the different classes, but these are all the different spell schools. That's what's going on.
Yeah, it's
here.
schools. Yeah. Because there's not enough for it all classes. So some will encompass like Fell being like Demon Hunter and Warlock. Like it's gonna encompass a couple classes based on those spell schools.
So Fell Bullet feels a lot like a Warlock. So deal 2 damage, draw a card, swaps each turn. Fire Bullet. Deal 2 damage, then deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I'm going to stop saying swaps each turn because these all swap each turn. Then Frost Bullet, deal 2 damage, gain 4 armor. Holy Bullet, deal 2 damage, give a random friendly minion +2/+2. Nature Bullet, deal 2 damage, discover a spell. And finally, Shadow Bullet, I think this is my favorite one. Deal 2 damage, summon a random 3-cost minion.
Yeah, that's like a swing thing, right? You can eliminate something and summon something at the same time.
And even though that's random,
pretty cool.
It's a 3-cost minion. Your hero power, again, costs 2 mana. So random 3-cost, you're not only pinging, but you're pinging for 2. Just huge swing there. That's my favorite, personally.
It's like a mini Fire Lance portal hero power.
It really is. And, all those 2 damage, those can go face, too. Just saying.
Oh, they can.
So, you play Hero Lone Ranger. If you're at 10 mana, the Reno Lone Ranger only costs 8. You can then use your hero power, and you can aim that right at the face because your opponent doesn't have any minions. They're gone.
Quest Hunter Reno hero deck. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not saying that's good at all, but that kind of sounded fun in my head just now because you're picking face and doing things. Yeah. Not good. Don't do it.
Don't do it. But, I mean, who are we to tell you what to do? So, in Reno's battle cry effect, just like the old school Reno, requires you to be running a Highlander deck. So if your deck has no duplicates, there's quite a bit of Highlander support in this set. So there are a few Highlander cards that I think that we want to kind of spotlight this week. I'll let you take the first one because I know you were probably most excited for this one outside of Reno Lone Ranger.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then my excitement originates from outside of the game, to be honest. But so this is Gunslinger Kurtrus. So this is Demon Hunter, 5 mana, 4/6 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, fire 6 random 2 damage shots at minions in the enemy's hand. Did I correctly?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you sure did. And that
In their
ignores death rattles. Death rattles don't proc. That ignores divine shield. So if I've got like a shielded mini bot in my hand, let's say that I have 6 shielded mini bots in my hand, and that's my whole hand. My whole hand is gone.
That's nuts. Like, oh man, like imagine like an aggro deck just refilled their hand or something like that, and you play this and just destroy their hand. Like six random 2 damage shots. Like that's crazy. If everything in their hand is low health, I don't know if it can hit the same thing twice if it had 2 or 1 health. I don't know if that works or not, but you could potentially annihilate your opponent's hand.
Yeah, so the way that they've kind of showed it is that whenever a card essentially, you kill the minion, defeat the minion, it goes away. So they the video reveal for Gunslinger Kurtrus shows all of the entire hand going away except for one card. That one card is the 5/5 beast with stealth. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but that one had been hit by a few of these pew pews as well, and it's a 5 mana 5/1 with stealth, and it's injured too. So it could be healed back up, but it's like 2 of those shots hit that minion. Yeah. So playing
Rage Warrior to counter this. Don't know if that works either. Probably not.
No. So it ignores all the things that require the minion to be on board, like Divine Shield, stuff like that. But I like where your head's at.
It's so cool. And of course, the reason I like it is because it was, besides the fact that it's really cool, is that it was Gunslinger. And if you've listened to the podcast at all, you know that Sheep and I both like the Gunslinger, which is a Stephen King book.
Absolutely. And honestly, if Reno wasn't here, this may be, there's so many cool, I was going to say this may be my favorite no duplicate card in the set, but there are some really cool ones.
Well, what is our next no duplicate Highlander card, Sheep?
Our next no duplicate Highlander card is Theldurin the Lost. So it's a hunter legendary minion, 4 mana 3/4 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, gain immune this turn and attack all enemies. We mentioned this card last time, and we do have a brief correction. I mistakenly said that Theldurin was a gnome. I meant dwarf. I just misspoke. Thank you, Blister Guy.
I just had a flashback to the Discord. Yeah, thanks, Blister.
Legitimately appreciate that, because I just misspoke. That's what it was. So we've already kind of highlighted Theldurin the Lost a little bit. Hunter has some different hand and deck buffing cards. It's pretty cool. Not going to be super consistent because it's a Highlander. It relies on your deck having no duplicates, but it's still a really powerful effect. And even if you're just playing it as a 4 mana 3 AoE that also hits the face, like that's still a really powerful effect.
I think this is an amazing card. Like it's good. It'll probably be better in standard than in wild, but like it's pretty solid. Attacks all enemies on turn 4. Like if there's an aggro deck that is just swarming the board, like there's your board clear with a body. Like
Dwarf is just punching everything right in the face.
Bam! Right in the face.
Well, Paladin is another card, another class that got a no duplicate support. So Spirit of the Badlands is a 3 mana 3/4 undead beast. I already mentioned Paladin. Of course, legendary. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, get a permanent Mirage. I did a pretty good job of getting most of the tokens in this set, but I mistakenly did not grab this one. So a Mirage, the Mirage is really, really cool. Pull it up really quick, but essentially what the Mirage does is it looks into your deck, and each turn it's kind of like a Chameleos, but for your deck. So it looks at your deck and just appears to be one of the other minions that you have in your deck. So basically negating a lot of the drawbacks of the Highlander. And it's so it reads exactly: at the start of your turn, transform into a copy of a minion in your deck. And then of course it says permanent Mirage. Let's say the only minion you have left in your deck is Tyrion, and you continue to just draw spells and not Tyrion. You can play Tyrion, and then the next turn you can play Tyrion again, and then the next turn you can play Tyrion again, and then the next turn you can play Tyrion again, etc. Because the Mirage itself is permanent, kind of like the the Shadow Priest card, that is a permanent fixture in your hand. You pay 3 mana, you discover a shadow spell. It's the same idea, except there's no drawback of having to pay 3 mana to discover a thing. It's just transforms into a copy of a minion from your deck every single turn. I love this card, if you can't tell.
So wait, if it transforms, I guess it wouldn't be a duplicate in your deck. I'm sorry, I was just thinking like if that rune duplicate rules, but I guess it wouldn't.
No,
right?
because it's in your hand. Yeah. Exactly.
It's your hand. So you're good. You're good.
So if you've got Reno in your deck, you can heal up to full. If you've got Zephyrus in your deck, you can play a Zephyr. Like, it depends on what it randomly turns into, because it's like Chameleos in that way. It turns into a different copy of a minion in your deck at the beginning of your turn. So you know what it is you're going to be playing, and it happens at the beginning of each turn. So it keeps on changing.
That's super cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really neat. I guess that's going into a lot of Paladin decks.
If you're running a Highlander Paladin deck, which there's already some Highlander Paladin control decks that we can play now that are reasonably competitive, Spirit of the Badlands is going to slot right in.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we got another one, and this next one is our favorite class, right, guys? Priest. So this is an 8 mana priest card. Elise is back. Badlands Savior. So this is an 8 mana 5/5 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, summon 4/4 copies of 4 random minions in your deck.
So there was a recent big priest. I know I said the the evil words, big priest. That ran like the new priest Titan. That ran like Yogg.
That's right.
You know, all of those different things. That's what I think Elise Badland Savior is for. I think it's for getting those powerful effects that are either death rattles or, you know, those Titan colossal effects to where you can have immediate impact. So if you have just like Neptulon, you have the Priest Titan, you have the Priest Colossal. I mean, your board's already full by that point, but let's just say you only have Neptulon left in your deck. Then you can immediately get the rush, you know, because Neptulon's a Colossal. Those 2 4/2s also boop out to the side, etc.
And I feel like they were playing it safe with this being 8 mana, I guess is the idea here.
Exactly.
Right. And you don't want to pull this with anything else because this is a battle cry, right? So if you summon this, it's not going to go off. You need to draw this, play this, somehow maybe discount it if possible. But you're playing this on turn 7 or 8. And so good luck surviving till then. And it's going to be a Highlander deck, right? So you aren't going to get, you know, the duplicates of everything that you want normally that you're relying on to, you know, draw through your deck and everything like that. So it's going to be a little harder, but it's kind of cool, right? Like I think this is awesome. And when it works, it's going to work, right? So just how reliable is it actually going to be? I'm not super confident. But I think when it goes off, it's going to really go off.
Yeah, and if you were building an Elise Badland Savior deck, I feel like you're building around this card in particular, which means you're probably not playing Zephyrus, because that's a battle cry. You're probably not playing Reno or Raza, because those are battle cries. Like, do you really want just like random 4/4s that have no real effect? I mean, maybe if you're playing Seance, but probably not because it's a Highlander deck. So I feel like they kind of built in some protection from making this just like too evil of a card in our format. It's 8 mana. All those battle cries don't go off. I feel like they did a really good job of balancing the powerful control, like Highlander support for standard, but not going out of control in our format either. So we really appreciate that.
Yes, we do. I also think though, like, because you could do this and then if you don't have you don't win that turn because you just got a bunch of big boys on the board, and then they just clear it. At this point in the game, your spellstone will probably pull everything back that they just cleared.
That is no
Right?
longer a lesser diamond spellstone. That is a greater diamond spellstone.
So you got that. You got that. So
and
keep
how?
that in mind.
Well, what you've got if you're playing Shaman is Dr. Holiday. So, it's a Doc Holiday reference for, the Western fans among us. So Doc Holiday is a 5-mana 4/5 Shaman legendary. No tribe. With the battle cry, if your deck has no duplicates, equip the Staff of the 9 Frogs. So Staff of the 9 Frogs is a 5-mana weapon. It doesn't really matter because Doc Holiday equips it. 2/9 weapon. After your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 frog with taunt. Each frog is bigger than the last. So the first time you play, you swing with Staff of the 9 Frogs, it's a 1/1. The second time it's a 2/2, 3/3, 4/4, etc. And that frog does have taunt. One thing that we have in our format that Standard does not have is the new Alakir hero, which, if you forgot, whenever you press your hero power, which does cost 2, it increases your attack, your hero's attack. So this would be a 4 attack, and gives you Wind Fury and Divine Shield. So the Divine Shield does not go away. The Wind Fury does. So you'd have to push the button again every time. But let's say you've already played Alakir. Alakir costs 7, if I recall correctly. Then you play Doc Holiday, costs 5 mana. So you play Doc Holiday, you push your button, you swing twice, you deal 8 damage because each one is 4, and then you get a 1/1 and a 2/2 frog with taunt. And then you do it again the next turn, and the next turn, and those frogs with taunt just keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think this word Nate would say, I think I just vomited in my mouth a little.
And did I mention that equipping Staff of the 9 Frogs is a battle cry? Shutterwalk enjoyers.
No!
Friendly reminder, Flurgle Tox has been nerfed. Friendly reminder. So surviving into the late game will be harder for that Highlander Shaman.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be a blast.
That is so cool.
Yeah, buddy. And finally, this is another one of my favorites. Ray Straza. So Ray Straza is an 8-mana 8/8. This is our druid friend. So 8-mana 8/8 dragon, very relevant for the rest of druids class in this particular expansion. So battle cry, if your deck has no duplicates, summon the Purified Dragon Nest. Purified Dragon Nest is kind of like the Juggernaut. It's one of those little things that just sticks on the board, takes up a board slot, but, isn't actually a minion. Note for Reno, this would take the Purified Dragon Nest away if you're playing the Reno hero card, because it clears the opponent's board. So that is very relevant. So Purified Dragon's Nest, at the end of your turn, the start of your turn, discover a dragon. It costs 4 less. So every turn, the beginning of the turn, you're discovering a new dragon. Since it's the start of your turn, you're not discovering it the turn that you play Ray Straza, but you are discovering it when you'd be able to, the same turn that you'd be able to play it. Super relevant there as well. And it costs 4 less. So if you're getting an Alex Straza from the Purified Dragon Nest, that's not a 9-mana card, that's a 5-mana card. Mm-hmm. So huge discount there.
I'm really glad this one isn't neutral.
Yes.
It would be everywhere. It's so good.
So is your face.
Aw. Thank you.
So, and Goliath mentions in chat that the Ray Straza is one of the few lore characters in Showdown in the Badlands. So Ray Straza is in fact a lore character. Goliath has recently been on Bread and Butter, where he goes over some of the lore from this forthcoming set, we need to have our showdown of the Badlands lore episode ourselves. But to tide you over until that point, bread and butter, Goliath the dwarf has been on there to go over some lore as well. So very excited for Raystraza. Honestly, the druid class itself has a lot of dragons in it. I'm really excited, particularly in our format, because we can play like Kazakhstan and we can play some of those like big beefy dragons and those smaller dragons and dragon synergies that Standard doesn't have that we can just continue going on. So I'm excited for Raystraza and for really Highlander support. Anytime we get Highlander support.
Oh yeah, so cool.
Especially because we have so much else much other Highlander support in our format with like, Zeph and Reno and Alex Straza, the Lifebinder, or not the Lifebinder, the Highlander Alex Straza, that one.
yeah. DQA?
Yes, Dragon Queen. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know when they brought Highlander back to Standard, like, they brought Reno back, right? And like, no one was playing it because, like, it just wasn't, I guess, not good enough. Back in my day, it was like Highlander was amazing in Standard when it first came out, and then it just wasn't good enough when they brought it back. So I guess they were like, all right, you'll see. we'll make it better. We'll make it good. So that's pretty cool. And then it just gives us and Wild so much more support. And maybe it's not, if you're going for top 100 legend or whatever, maybe it's not what you want, but it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. And I appreciate it. It's going to be great.
I can't wait, especially with that neutral hero card, Reno Lone Ranger. It's just
so I know we used to like decide what we're going to craft gold ahead of time because that was something you had to do. Now you don't have to because you can upgrade cards, so it's not that big of a deal. You didn't lose out on anything. But I feel like this one's got to be gold.
Oh, right? Yeah. I feel like it has to be as well. And they haven't, at the very least, released a signature version of Reno Lone Ranger. I don't know if there's going to be one. If there's a signature version, then like that's going to be one that I'm hunting down. The signature versions of this
signature
set
hero
look incredible, right?
Wow.
If they haven't done it, it's a huge missed opportunity. If they have and just haven't announced it yet, then like yeah, I can't wait.
Rewards, put it on the rewards track. Don't make it $62.99.
They could even make a diamond one that's on the rewards track, and then like he's doing the like moving around and all the different diamond animations. Honestly, I hope this isn't a signature card. I hope it's a diamond card. I
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, buddy. Well, Hydra?
Yeah, sheep.
And now, unrelated advice with Nate Wolf.
With ElectricSheepCity. So we should call Craig and get him to re-record those with other people's names. He might be able to do that. So I'm going to rewind a little bit for this question. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, it was a bit of a thing for me this week where I'm going to be doing something completely different come Monday. My job is going to change, and it's sort of a big deal. And I'm going to be tapping all sorts of resources along the way. And my good buddy Sheep is a wise man. And I'm just wondering if he has any words of wisdom going into my new management position first thing Monday morning.
So I think the best advice I can give is to just be a sponge. Learn as much as you can. Honestly, learn who knows what, right? Like learn those connections. You already know the company really well. That's why they wanted you to, go there. But there are going to be some new things that you're going to have to do, and some new like people, some new like aspects of your job that you never would have had to do before that all of a sudden you're going to have to do. So learning who to go to for what, I think is the biggest one. And with those different responsibilities and those different things that you're going to need to lean on different people for, learning who gives the best advice for managing people, who's a really good manager, right? Learning who balances the best budget if you have to do budgeting stuff. Like
I do, yes.
So that may not have been something that you had to ask people about before. So, finding out who, whether that's your finance folks or whether that's another manager who balances their budget really well. So finding out who to ask what, as well as, of course, just learning as much as you can, like the actual mechanics of the job and technical aspects is going to be super important too. Learning how to balance the budget, that kind of stuff will also be super important. So just go into it with a really curious mind of how to do the things and who to find out what from.
So what you're saying is what I need to do is absorbing via osmosis.
Wiser words have never been spoken. And you heard that on
More to be wild.
Wild. Yeah.
Right. 1:11:23-ish. I'm not going to push stop recording quite yet because what I've discovered is that whenever I hit the end recording button, it freezes the stream. So I don't want to do that like before we've gotten a chance to say goodbye to folks and send people off.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I see Tito, by the way, is streaming, so we could probably send something over to our buddy Tito Santana.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out to the show tonight. We appreciate it. I would like to make a shout out real quick to Nate Wolf, who made this amazing background that we have going right now. This active background with the clouds moving and everything. Like, that was all made by Nate. He worked very hard on this, and it's so cool, and we appreciate Mr. Wolf very much. He did so good.
Yeah, we would not be here if it weren't for Nate. Huge thank you to Nate for everything. Getting a little teared up. I'm not gonna dwell on that, but Nate, we love you.
Love you, Nate.
And now I get to push the raid button. And now I get to push
the Nate Father. All right, so stay with us for another minute if you guys can, while we send you guys over to Tito Santana HS. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Bad Player. Thanks, Goliath. Thanks, Ari Born. Thank you, everybody who was here tonight. We very much appreciate it, and we shall see you next time on Born to Be Wild.
Boop, bop, skip, bop, boop, bop, bop. Wild.